These balls are covered in a layer of my spiritual energy. 5 centimeters across and gold and shiny.
This is the anime in question that everyone's saying is peak. And no, this clip needs no context. It's basically laying it out for you straight up. When the anime trailer came out on the internet for Dandadan, everybody was screaming in sore of excitement. I saw a lot of people saying to keep watch for this anime because the manga was great. Now, I had no clue what to expect, but man, what the fuck did I just walk into? One of my favorite anime of the past years was Chainsaw Man, and Dandadan reminds me of Chainsaw Man. What do I mean by this? Well, let's break it down. I gathered the main top 3 components that these anime both bring to the table, and I think are very relatable. Number 1, unique and absurd premises. While Denji in Chainsaw Man is a half human, half devil, killing his own kind devils while looking for love, Okarun is a boy who believes in aliens. He is someone who has no friends but falls for someone who is willing to talk to him and protect him from being bullied. Momo is a popular girl in school who has bad taste in boys and believes in the supernatural. Momo does not believe in aliens and Okarun does not believe in the supernatural. So what does that leave us to? They both go exploring into places where there's been rumors of aliens being there and supernatural things happening there too. Of course, Momo goes to explore where the alien rumors have been spreading, and Okarun goes to explore where the supernatural things have been happening. And they both go exploring to prove each other wrong. And this is very far from the truth. Momo gets kidnapped by creepy aliens and awakens her supernatural abilities to save herself, while Okarun gets haunted by a ghost called Turbo Granny and gets her supernatural abilities. I am certain just from this first clip of the video you can see the absurdness of this story, and I love it. The friendship of Momo and Okarun becomes very close and strong, seeing these two fighting off the supernatural together, but also involving a lot of romance in this story. If I'm not mistaken, I think the author forced the producer of this anime to watch a lot of romance content, whether it was movies, shows, reading books. He made him watch and consume so much romance to make sure he got the romance part of this story right, because there is really good action in this story, but it's a romance story between Okarun and Momo. Number 2, unconventional humor. The humor in both of these shows are very similar. There are very many inappropriate moments in these stories that make me crack up, like that part I played in the beginning. Denji becomes motivated to do good just so he can get some, or Okarun having to find his golden balls that were originally stolen by Turbo Granny and she ends up losing them, so he has to find them. That's right, that sentence is very fucking true. That's what is involved in the story. There are a lot of awkward moments that happen in Dandadan, and they always involve Okarun in some way. He is your average nerd, so of course he is going to get himself in these situations with Momo, who is very loud. The humor is great in Dandadan. Just make sure you watch this privately. Very risky to watch this in public. Very risky. And number 3, over the top action. Like I mentioned before, the author really wanted to make this a romance story, but the action is still really freaking good. I mean, in the first episode, we see Momo and Okarun fighting off these aliens and Turbo Granny, which is nicely animated. We see very fluid action sequences in the story being super engaging, and we see many moments of them fighting off the supernatural and aliens that come across in the story. Now, Dandadan is a perfect balance between romance and action. Let's talk about the blend of romance in this anime, because I was not really expecting it at all, but it's actually my favorite part in the story. Unlike Chainsaw Man's romance, non-existent. Okarun and Momo are from the complete opposite crowds of people. Okarun is a shy nerd and Momo is loud and popular. So from the first time they meet, Okarun falls for her, and they do not know it yet, but their conversation about aliens and supernatural beings sparks something. They are willing to talk to each other about these absurd things and try and hear each other out. Well, we see in the first episode, Okarun got powers from Turbo Granny and was doing everything he could to save Momo. Don't get me wrong though, Momo unlocked her own powers and she was also kicking ass. But she noticed Okarun was risking his life to save her, and they hadn't even known each other for a day. She had seen that Okarun was a good person and was better than any other boy she had tried talking to in the past. Escaping the craziest days of their lives, Momo wants to take care of him too after all they went through. I believe Okarun wanted to leave without her being there by her side, but she said she had to be there by her side because I think in this story her powers control his powers of getting out of control because of her supernatural abilities. Well, we see that Momo has a crush on a celebrity and his name is Ken. I forgot his last name. She never got Okarun's name, so when she asks him, hey, what was your name by the way, because I forgot, well, when he says Ken, that seals the deal for her. The explosion in the background after this announcement was a perfect touch to the end of the first episode. Was Dandadan worth the hype? I believe this anime was totally worth the hype. The romance alone between the two main characters is such a great story. The connection that these two have is really cute. It's one of those stories that makes you smile because of the characters experiencing a great moment, or makes you anxious when something is wrong in the story. There's one specific moment that really sold me in the story, which is later into the show, but there's a point in the show where Momo catches Okurun kissing Ayase, which does not happen, but of course she catches him in a very weird moment where she thinks it's happening but it doesn't. This leads Momo to get extremely jealous, and at this point in the show, Momo and Okurun have not really confessed that they like each other at all, which makes things a little hard to explain, especially for Momo's case being jealous. But in this situation, they're being hunted down by the aliens from episode 1, are in a very weird reality marble, fighting off Nessie the Loch Ness monster. Well, in this scene specifically, they're talking about this incident with Ayase and Okurun, but they talk about it in such a mature way. They are both willing to open up to each other, and it's funny because they're literally being hunted down naked in an ocean of water. And that is why this anime is worth the hype. The absolute absurd situations that the main characters get into, with the nice action spin in there, and the cute and intense romance moments that the main characters have. Dandadan was worth the hype. Dandadan was one of my favorite animes watching in 2024 because of the romance elements that this show has. The connection between the two main characters is so nice to see. And it's like experiencing being in love again for the first time, I would say. You get to see both perspectives and how tough it is to say that you like someone, but also being so infatuated by someone that you want to be with them all the time. There are so many moments between these two characters that makes you want to keep watching the story. If you watched the video all the way through, thank you so much for watching. You're a real one. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Peace, everybody. Warning, there are some very inappropriate moments in the show, so I've warned you because they're kind of ridiculous, but if you ignore all that stuff, the show is still really good in my opinion.